The next time you want that same
Listen to the radio.
Brought to you by Ice-T.
Right, yes.
I'm not used to the days being longer. That happened to us last week when Jake and I were Earth to Echo. We got out of the theater. Again, like a nighttime show, and got, hey, it's still daylight out.
Right, yeah.
Then at the end of the review, dark. We just got out of Sharknado RiffTrax Live. With the star of Sharknado 2.
The trailer of Sharknado 2, yes. It's my beautiful silhouette, you see. And clearly that's what everyone's talking about, so, you know.
Yeah, when it showed
I have a fabulous agent.
No, here's what you should have done. When it showed the, like, little clips of Sharknado 2, right before this, you should have stood up and just went, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
That's right, thank you. No, I understand, but no, it's okay. Thank you. Oh, God, yeah.
That would have been so amazing.
Who is this asshole standing up in the thing?
Shoot the fuck down!
How dare you, sir? I was a background actor in Sharknado 2. I don't need this. So,
in fact, why am I not sitting? Why don't I have my own little roped off section in this
exactly. Yes, I demand to speak to the manager. Why were they not told I was coming?
Well, it was funny. It was interesting seeing an Asylum movie on the big screen.
It's crazy. It's really, really crazy that this little TV movie had like $1.5 million budget.
Yeah.
Which, I was saying to you before, like, I mean, that's like the craft services budget of like Transformers 4 was more than the entire budget for Sharknado.
A minute's worth of Transformers.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's so crazy to think that this little tiny movie that I did have the chance to work on. It's been kind of said on your site before that, I'm involved with these. And the way I'm involved is that Anthony C. Ferrante, the director of Sharknado and Sharknado 2, is a very good friend of mine. And he actually asked me, because I've worked on his other films, like Hansel and Gretel and
Boo. Did you work on Boo?
I didn't work on Boo, no, that was before I met him, but I've worked on some of the web stuff, and he and I have done this online podcast and stuff, but he asked me if I wanted to come out and work on Sharknado. And, it was going to be time off work and, time away from the family and all this other stuff, and I was like,
And we gave Ryan so much shit. Like, dude, family, whatever. Sharks, man.
Yeah, they were none too happy. They're like, dude, you should go work on this movie and stuff. And I was like, no. Oh my God, it's Anthony. He's calling me right now.
Dude, way to name drop, cell phone.
Yeah, thanks a lot, cell phone. I will call him back. Excuse me.
We had to find out if he watched the RiffTrax.
Well, no, I'm not going to talk to him in the middle of this. He would hate me. He would kick my ass. Well, no, anyway. Oh God, this is really. The timing of it all, man. The timing. Anyway, he asked me if I wanted to come work on it. I really wanted to go. It was a 2-week shoot. They shot the whole thing in 14 days.
Yeah.
And, he was like, I want you to come out. You can work on the movie. You can shoot behind the scenes, because I've done that for a bunch of other movies. Shoot all the EPK. And I ultimately decided that it wasn't worth it with where I was at my job. And I was like, well, I don't want to piss off my boss, so I don't want to take 2 weeks off. It's Sharknado. So it's a movie about a tornado full of sharks. You know what? I'll catch the next one. So last July,
like, I gotta go see this midnight screening of Monsters University.
That's right. Yeah, I gotta go to that. I don't want to miss that, because I love the first Monsters Inc. and clearly Monsters University is gonna be way better. So no, I'm not going to this movie. So no. No, so last July, I guess, when the movie airs, I'm watching it at home with my wife, and I'm going from moments of extreme wow, this is so great, to just utter despair and depression, because why the hell did I pass on this? Why did I say no? No, that's okay, I'm not going to go work on this. So, I just realized how stupid it was, because it was so fun. It was just
It's a funny movie. I mean, it's a comedy.
It is a comedy. And like, that's the way it was treated.
Yeah.
Not to be a silly, slapsticky thing.
Yeah.
But to be like, it's a farce. It's a silly idea.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so fun. And it's so watchable.
It's taking advantage of cheesy special effects. A brilliant title.
Right.
silly lines that, for the most part, okay, yeah, because a lot of the acting in the movie is questionable, but there's not often in the movie where I'm sitting there like that it's really overly purposefully acted bad.
I think it's because of the pacing. There's too much movement. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot of time of them sitting around. Because I have noticed that on other, like, these really low-budget horror, like, that Asylum makes or other sci-fi channel. There's a lot of time where they're sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
Which means they're forced to have dialogue. And usually the dialogue's bad and the acting's bad. So if I think what helped this one so much is that they're always moving. They're always running from something or doing something or in the car going somewhere. And they didn't have to sit there and suffer on not great dialogue, because how great could the dialogue really be?
Even the dialogue that's in the
sharks.
movie is certainly very cheesy dialogue.
Oh yeah.
But it's a lot. When RiffTrax announced that they were gonna do this, that they were gonna riff it in theaters, there was a certain group. There was, hell, I know some people who even said this. Spoonie, I think, did a video on it. Where they were kind of saying, like, really? You're going to riff Sharknado? Like, why? The movie's aware of itself.
Right, yeah.
It's like riffing, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes or Gremlins 2 or, something that very much has a sense. It knows what it is.
Exactly,
and it's kind of riffing itself in that regard. But, and I get that point of view. I totally do. Hell, we did a snob critic crossover on Sharknado. What helped us out a lot is that the character I play doesn't get freaking exploitation, so of course the snob can sit there like, why does it look this cheap?
Right.
But you can still make jokes about this movie. I mean, that's like saying, like, well, then what did you do when you sat there and watched it? Did you sit there silently?
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you watch this movie and you crack up because of the pure absurdity of it.
Yeah.
And that's what, every movie you're suspending disbelief.
Yeah.
But, this one, it was, the suspension of disbelief, and then just the, they gave you the premise, and then they stuck to it.
Yeah.
It's not like suddenly the tornado came alive and, like, had an agenda. No, it's just a tornado full of sharks.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is, and that's all it is.
Yeah. And you can still, you could get friends together, you can still watch it, and you can still, like, crack wise at it, like you can at any movie.
Oh, sure, yeah.
In terms of their riffing on here, like, they were certainly going after low-hanging fruit in a lot of parts.
Yeah, they really, really were.
Like, okay, they're making fun of stuff about it that is certainly part of the joke of the movie. Whether it's the effects, whether it's that in some shots it's sunny and some shots it's raining, and things like that.
Which is funny because they shot it in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And it rarely rains in Los Angeles. So when it does rain, it's sometimes in like the winter months. Like January through like March. Then you might actually see a little bit more rain than you would during the. But even then, it's never much.
Yeah.
So they were shooting during I think the winter months. And, they were hoping that maybe some days they might be cloudy or something. Well, again, it's L.A.,
Yeah.
So they were shooting in the driest winter L.A.'s ever had. There was no rain ever. So it was always with a rain truck. And, it was always with bright blue skies.
Yeah.
That they had to, go in and digitally change later. And then, of course, there's all these different stock footage shots and things that they mushed in there together as well that, barely match. But again, it's like
it's part of the joke.
It is,
it really is. It's part of what makes the movie pretty funny, and also, but a lot of their jokes in this that really, really worked is stuff where they're putting like they do in any movie that they watch, whether the movie is aware of itself or not. Like the stuff that they do on RiffTrax and Mystery Science Theater, where they're putting lines in people's mouths.
Right. Yeah.
Or
the sharks lines the sharks are saying is
things like that, like Full Metal Sushi. Stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that anyone would say if they're sitting there watching Sharknado.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And that was the stuff in this that worked. Hell, even some stuff that I didn't even pick up on the first time I saw it. Like, that is really funny that went to go help out the Australian guy while the guy.
Well, the other, yeah, there's the lifeguard and the paramedics helping him. It's like, no, it's just a scratch. It's okay. And there's a guy bleeding to death with his leg gone.
Yeah, with his leg gone. Like, that's pretty bad. I didn't notice that the first time I saw it, and even when I watched it with Doug, that's really, really funny.
You're right.
Once it got towards the end, where it's the tornado in the last half hour, when it's the tornado of sharks, where Ian Ziering, as he's chopping the thing in half, you know, Terry kicks the thing over in slow motion and pulling the girl out of the shark and things like that.
Okay,
I mean,
I'm obviously biased in that I have a friend who worked on this and that I know.
Oh no, I love
people.
that stuff.
I'm with you pretty much everywhere else on the premise.
Yeah.
And I you know, I've said this to them, the people. It's like, I was with you. You know, it's like, okay. Sure, okay, you know, it pulls up sharks in a tornado. Sure, whatever. It's a rare hurricane in California. All right, whatever, fine. I can go with you on that. You throw a bomb in the middle of a tornado and blow it up. That's how you get rid of tornadoes, being from the Midwest.
That's just how you do it.
Sure, why not? Whatever. You know what?
That's how we get rid of tornadoes here.
I'm with you on pretty much everything else. Where I was like, done, that's it, lost me. It's the same shark that ate the girl that he's also in. That's it. Nope, that's it. Suspension of disbelief is gone. That's
Ed
the one.
said the same thing.
That's
lost.
You lost me. You had me through everything else. You even had me with the water coming from inside the house. You know, flooding the street because, you know, that's how water works. It was inside the house and it came out. I was like, okay, whatever, that's dumb, but whatever. But no, the same
I still love that. I still love that because the whole movie's ridiculous. The whole movie it's supposed to be ridiculous. Like, it absolutely is. And so I come at that part with the feeling of, well, why wouldn't that have happened? Like,
yes.
So I'm like, that's a pretty funny joke. And what sells me on that joke is that Ian Ziering and the girl play it straight. That's something that a lot of people think about this movie who haven't seen it, in that, like, that it's, okay, yeah, some of the acting in it is questionable,
sure,
but it seems like it's still slightly genuine bad acting. There's a couple of people in there that are really doing it tongue-in-cheek,
right,
but there are actors in the movie who well, and I think that's what makes it largely funny, because...
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's that if you had anybody else other than Ian Ziering play it, and they played it to be kind of like, well, I'm doing this stupid movie and I don't really care, you know, whatever, fine. I'll say the you know, hackneyed action guidelines and, you know, whatever, fine, give me my paycheck. He committed to it.
Yeah, he is playing this part.
He genuinely commits to it.
Yeah,
and like, you know, to his credit, I think that's one of the things that really makes the movie, is that he's enjoyable to watch because he sells it. Like, he sells this idea.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, he is playing the part no differently than he would if this was a serious film.
Right, yeah, and it's I think it's great.
And so that made me again laugh at him pulling the girl out of the shark
when he comes out.
Like, all right, why? I'm like, why wouldn't that have happened? Oh, okay, you got me. That's like the icing on top of the cake right there. But because all that is genuinely, this is the third time I've seen this movie, because all that is genuinely funny, while I was, and this isn't the only RiffTrax thing that I've had this kind of experiences on, like, once it got to the last act where all that batshit stuff is happening, I was honestly more so laughing at the movie than I was a lot of the lines that they said.
Because it wasn't like, well, it was just, you're right, it was just like them, you know, giving a funny quip here that, like, you know, a character could be saying, or be funny to say that, or they were mercilessly going after Tara Reid.
Oh my god!
You know, just more
Tara Reid,
more drunk jokes about Tara Reid. I mean, that was a solid go-to. Or making fun of the I forget his name, but the guy who's the Aussie.
Oh, him.
You know, him just making fun of his accent and stuff.
And that was because I mean, they have good comedic timing.
They do. And it's funny, but you're right. It's not. It's almost like they liked the movie too much to attack the filmmaking, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like they didn't attack the filmmaking as much.
They did.
Well, I mean, they did a little bit with some of the editing, because there are a lot of, like, you know, random shots that do cut in for, like, there's palm trees for some reason, you know, or something, you know?
Yeah, they did make a lot of cracks about, like, again, like, some of the effects and, like, them saying stuff like, isn't anyone going to question the science in this? You know, stuff that, like,
anybody would say.
I mean, like, I don't... it's stuff that people would say if they didn't really get the joke of this movie, but
True,
I think they do, because when I was watching it, what else are they gonna say? Like in some of these in some of the shots where it's blatantly obvious that it's storming one minute, and then in the next cut it's not.
Right.
I don't know if they aren't really aware of the joke of the movie, but at the same time I'm watching it, and those jokes in the movie are blatant enough to where of the movie, like
right,
the jokes of the movie, not
right,
the riffing.
Right.
That it is kind of like, well, what else were they kind of gonna say in some of those parts?
That's a good point. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, you probably could have thrown in some other jokes in there that maybe wouldn't have given the impression that the people riffing the movie don't really get the joke of this film.
Right.
But I think they probably. I don't see how you couldn't.
I think they did. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they got the joke, and they were just. I mean, it's a pop culture phenomenon. They knew that if they did something with Sharknado, people would come see it, so they had to fill up the whole movie with jokes.
Because even because even in the Midwest we have cat tornadoes.
We have catnados, yes.
But even those jokes that are, dear God, are they low hanging fruit to where you could pick it up off the ground?
Yeah. There was a bunch of those, yeah.
They have good. This goes without saying. They have very good comedic timing. So even a lot of those jokes, whether we're talking about Ian Ziering on 90210,
they hit that one again. Like one of their favorite jokes going for most of the movie was pretending like the character was calling him, one of the other people from 90210.
They call him Tori Spelling.
At one point he goes, "Oh, come on, I'm Ian Ziering."
And these guys are very good at delivering jokes.
And it's funny, but that's what they kept hitting on.
And it's old jokes. It is old jokes, but their delivery can still sell you. They can still sell you just simply by their delivery. Hell, at the beginning of it is the short on spring fever from the Squirm episode of Mystery Science Theater. And this is, oh dear God, is that a short I've seen many, many times. But even watching it again with new riffs on it, it was still great. It was still very, very, very funny. Whether like joking about Coily being like an overlord of Satan, or this one dumb guy has made this wish, and now hundreds of thousands of planes are crashing all over
because there's no longer springs.
Yeah,
and the whole world has been destroyed.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you could tell us about Sharknado 2?
It's insane. It's crazy.
Sweet.
It's going to be so much fun. I've seen a cut of the film. I've seen certain scenes. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that this one was fun. Mm-hmm. There is just great sequences.
Yeah.
There's tons of celebrity cameos, which is really funny because all these celebrities were tweeting about it. So now a whole bunch of them wanted to be involved in the movie. It takes place in New York.
Yeah.
So the NATO's now wrecked New York, and you have to see some good old-fashioned landmark destruction, that sort of stuff. So
I genuinely enjoy the first one. I think it's a funny movie. I am looking forward to seeing the second one. We were even talking about having a get together to fucking chill out, order a bunch of fucking food, and watch Sharknado 2.
Hell yeah! What I'm thinking is if I can find somebody to spin gray cotton candy and then fill it with gummy sharks. That would be the party.
Yeah.
Yes, right?
Oh, fuck yeah.
See, Laura thought I was stupid. I'm like, that's a great idea.
That is a great idea. That is a fantastic fucking idea. I am all for that.
I have no idea where to get gray cotton candy because that just doesn't seem appetizing, you know what I mean?
Oh, we'll figure that shit
stuff it with gummy
out.
sharks, and then that is the party favorite. But no, it's just fun. I mean, why is it that this weird little movie has struck such a chord with pop culture?
It's a funny idea, and I mean, social media definitely dear God, did it lead a hand into that.
It broke Twitter. The first night it came out. So it's, we kind of talked about this. I think the reason is it's fun. It's happy. It's a fun thing to watch because you can sit with friends and laugh about it. And not be like, oh, you like Sharknado? Well, clearly you have terrible taste. And you're like, oh yeah, I saw that movie. It was funny. It was so stupid. And
the movie is laughing along with the people who,
which is why it's so, because they make they make so many movies like this. I mean, what do we say? We do Sharktopus, Ghost Shark, Sand Sharks.
there's even like the Mega Shark series, which I think this is better than. I haven't seen the Mecha Shark one, but
terrible. But
You've seen
they're
it?
terrible. I mean, they're genuinely terrible because they take themselves too seriously. They don't realize what they're making.
That is, you know what? That's a good thing to hit on, because people, and this is largely people who haven't seen Asylum films,
Right.
just simply think that it's, one, they seem to think this studio invented that, when no, there have been movies for decades that are aware of themselves. Again, like I said earlier, whether you're talking about a trauma film, whether you're talking about something else, it's a different style than that, but still, it is a movie that this one anyway is a movie that wants to laugh right along with the audience, and but people who haven't really seen a lot of Asylum films assume that's all they do. It's not. No. It is not all. There are actually, there's more Asylum movies than not that play themselves pretty serious.
And on occasion it works.
On occasion it does. There are some that I liked.
But the problem is that they're working on a shoestring budget. You know, I mean, they produce, God, like a dozen films a year. I mean, they produce.
Yeah.
Well, with Sci-Fi Channel, I mean, Sci-Fi Channel for a while there, they might be still doing this, but they had a new movie every week.
Yeah.
You know, so they had 3 different production companies churning out movies for them, so they could have a new monster movie every Saturday night.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, it becomes a quantity over quality, and you know they're getting the contracts to make these movies. Well, let's just churn them out, and they cram something together.
Oh God, yeah.
And what's interesting is that people will rag on the visual effects, and the visual effects are pretty bad at certain points.
Yeah.
They are. Well, what's the difference between why is it that something like Transformers or one of the Marvel movies has so much better effects? Well, is it just money? Well, it's money, but it's also time.
Yeah.
Like for example, just for a timeline, we're doing this on July 10th. The NATO 2 comes out in 10 days or so, or 20 days or something like that. I don't know. The 30th. It was filmed in February of this year. They actually needed a cut to go to foreign markets earlier in June. Okay, so that's only like what, 4 or 5 months?
Yeah,
or less than that, 3 or 4 months. That's 4 months. Let's say 4 months. Let's just go with there. Everyone will check my math, and I'll see it in the comments. But let's just say 4 months. They had 4 months to deliver a movie that is this effects heavy.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of getting to meet some of the visual effects guys when I was out there once. They're not like, hackneyed kids that don't know what they're doing. These guys are pros. I mean, real pros. And they're really, really good. And when you think about what they're able to deliver on such short amount of time, it's actually amazing what they're able to pull off. Yes, it looks bad. I mean, it really does. I mean, even, in this one, I think the best looking shot was probably the Ferris wheel, that whole sequence. I think that was the best, most realized shot. But there's some really terrible shark effects. But because, again, they had only so much time to cram this together.
And that's also what the audience wants.
And you're right. I think if it looked too good, I don't know. It is kind of fun to see like especially when the shark starts chomping through the roof.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that looks terrible, but it's okay. It's okay. It looks bad.
Yeah, I mean, even there were movies like that even in the practical effects days. Look at like Weasels Rip My Flesh, or it's paper mache, and there's guys going around dressed like Frank Zappa. I mean, that's, you go into that and all right, there's going to be some cheesy, fun special effects, and it's like that with this too,
right?
And this really is them saying like, all right, we're going to do some fucking fun shit with this movie, more so because that is a huge problem with a lot of their movies that play it straight and really shouldn't, like Titanic 2.
Oh man.
Titanic 2. God, what else? American Warships and shit like that. Like
that was a bad one.
That's what people don't realize is that a lot of their movies do play it like that. Do play it too serious, and those are the ones that are hard to sit through.
Yeah, those really.
Not all of them, but some of them. There are some good ones that they have that do play it pretty straight. Like I Am Omega really does, and I thought that movie was fun. Paranormal Entity I actually enjoyed quite a bit. But for every couple of those, there'll be like 17 Gacy houses.
Yeah, and Sand Sharks. I don't know if Sand Sharks was one of theirs. I don't know if that was...
I didn't see Sand Sharks. I
just remember seeing the title and then reading the synopsis that it's sharks in the sand.
Yeah, I know that Sharktopus was Corman.
Okay, yeah.
But Ghost Shark, I didn't see Ghost Shark.
Ghost Shark was It was sci-fi, definitely. I don't know if it was.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was. It
Sci-Fi.
premiered on Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
I should watch Ghost Shark. It seemed like something I would enjoy.
It's the same thing, except in the same concept that in Sharknado, sharks can literally come from anywhere. This ghost shark could literally come from anywhere because it's a ghost. It can just
Yeah,
go
it's
anywhere.
a ghost.
It's a ghost. So, I think they blow up that shark too. I don't know. I
gotta blow it up.
It aired like right after Sharknado did, because it was they were so excited. It's like, hey, you love Sharknado, you love Ghost Shark, and no.
I still need to see because it looked kind of funny, and I genuinely like I used to call them CGI exploitation.
Sure,
it's
yeah.
the exploitation of CGI effect.
yeah.
I genuinely like sitting through a lot of those. It isn't done out of any sense of irony or anything like that. Like, oh, I'm gonna torture myself by making me sit through this. I genuinely like them as comedies, as silly little movies. I mean, some of them are not all of them, but the ones like Sharknado worked for me. Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus worked for me. There was one of the silly piranha ones that the Asylum did that was kind of funny. Ballistica, I kind of enjoyed, where Ballistica had Paul Logan doing gun kata, where that's the one where the chamber's open and he flipped a bullet up that's spinning in the air and comes back down and lands in the chamber as he points his gun out like that. It's kind of amazing.
Oh man, that's funny.
Do you know if he's gonna end up if Anthony Ferrante is going to end up seeing because I think they're encoring it. They're
going to play it again next week or in a few days. I don't know if he's going to go. That's probably why he called me. He wanted to know if it was safe for him to go. I mean, because again, I almost feel like that was less them going, this movie's so terrible, we hate it, let's just rip it apart.
Yeah.
As much as it was, this movie's a huge pop phenomenon, it's already pretty funny, let's just have fun with it and play with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it more felt like. It didn't feel like they were ripping it apart and like, we hate this.
This is the worst movie ever made.
Yeah, we hate this and we're just going to tear it apart because we just hate this. It seemed like they were having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it did.
They were watching it and they were making jokes to be fun with it, So yeah, I'd tell him to watch it if he wanted.
Well, in terms of even its encore, I would. I mean, if you like RiffTrax, it's a good enough episode. It is, like I said earlier, it is one of those where kind of towards the end I was more so laughing at the movie. It's like when they did The Happening.
Sure.
It was like when they did The Happening. I'm like, honestly, just watching The Happening on its own is funny. Although there's a difference between The Happening and this. The Happening is an accidental bad film.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I got to give Jillian a call back, and I got to go back inside and see Apes.
Right.
You want to see Apes, man? You'll be here till 1 in the morning.
As much as I'd love to tell my boss to piss off and be like, no, I'm not coming in because I saw Apes. That's why. No, that's why I'm not going to come in. Yeah, don't come in Monday either. Awesome 4-day weekend. So no. So yeah, you have fun with that.
Actually, it's supposed to be.
I know it's supposed to be a good movie. I'd love to go see it. It's Gary Oldman with a rocket launcher at one point. What the hell's what more?
Fuck
do you
yeah.
want? What more do you want? So
a tornado of apes. Thank you.
A tornado of Gary Oldmans.
Wow, I'm really surprised it's at like a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, I'm enjoying this, but I kind of thought I'd be the only one. See you guys later.